The International Magician Society's Magic Academy Course of Magic, Volume 32, Silk Magic. Now, please welcome your instructor, Joseph Sheik.
Hello, I am Joseph Sheik, and I'm delighted to share with you, the IMS members, some of the greatest silk magic. A cigarette, and you can see the smoke. This is a very interesting trick, and I'd like to explain it to you right now. On the corner of this silk, I sewed a wooden bead. If you'll excuse me for one moment, I'll step over here and get the wooden bead. Here it is. It's a wooden bead that you take any corner of the silk and you sew it into it, which makes it easier for you to handle the silk. I'll reach in here and I'll get, I got it, my cigarette pull. This is a cigarette pull made of plastic, and it has elastic, runs to a safety pin. What I do is I take the end of the wooden bead right here and I put it between my index finger and my thumb, and I just bunch up the silk like this. Okay, it's bunched up into my hand. Now you don't see this cigarette pull. I take the cigarette, place it into the pull like this. If you notice, I'll show you right here if you can get a close-up. The pull, when I put the cigarette in here, the cigarette goes out and the pull goes up my sleeve and I just drop the silk out. That wooden bead that you sewed in the corner will help you to roll the silk in a magical manner. We'll roll the silk one more time like this to show you how it's done. And now what we can do, we can take this rolled silk and leave it here as and it'll look like a rose. And at any time during your act, you can pick up the rose and change it into a silk. The next trick I'm going to share with you is equally as visual as the last one. As you see, and look closely, silks appear from nowhere, and they have no idea where they came from. To explain to you how this is done, just take a silk and bunch it up like this into your hand. All you do is just bunch it up like this. Now this silk, you take it and place it in this elbow right here. Close your elbow. This silk, you do the same thing. Just bunch it up like this. You could do it a little more carefully, but for now I'm just going to do it. And then put it in this elbow. Now who knows that you have silks in your elbows? All you do, I'm going to do it one at a time. Just lift your hand and here's a silk. Lift this hand and here's another silk. Silks appear from nowhere. And now, for my next trick, I'd like to show you something very interesting. Let me just place these over here and walk over to my table here. Okay, I got the silk that I was looking for. As you see, there's one silk, one white silk. What I'd like to do now is stroke it through my hands very carefully like this. And as you see, we wind it up like this, and magically you see two silks. This is a beautiful production. It's very old, and I'd like to share it with you. What you do is you take one silk and you tuck it into your shirt like this. As you just keep tucking it in and leave, of course, this like this. It doesn't matter what color silk you're using, as long as this little tip here that sticks out matches your shirt. So now what you do, you take the silk, stroke it through your hand, and pull out the other one at the same time. And nobody will see it coming out. And now, wind it up. Because as you're producing the second silk, this is a very pretty production. Now I'd like to show you one of the gems of magic. Things begin to appear magically right before your very eyes. And the closer you watch, the less that you know what's happening. Silks appearing before your very eyes. Now watch. And now I'd like to explain to you how this is done. I'm going to walk over to the table over here. If you'll excuse me, I don't want to come out of view of the camera. This is a very simple trick which I'm going to quickly explain to you. First of all, let me reach over here. Here's two silks. What you do, first of all, you take two silks and you tie them together into a knot, like this. Now the blue silk in your right hand, you switch hands, and now the blue silk in your right hand you pull like this. Now you have a slip knot, as you notice. So what you do now is the blue silk that slips in and out, take that, fold it in half, and roll this end in like this. Leave a little material out before you roll this one up, and now we're rolling this blue one up like this. Now just open this up just like that, and tuck the blue silk, wrap the blue end that you left out, wrap the blue end that you left out around and tuck it in just like that, and roll this into the green silk. Now you just do the same thing with the next silk, of course. You tie this around. I'm going to do this quickly. You tie this around like this. As you notice, the orange slips in and slips out. The silk with the silk already rolled up inside of it, that's the one where you leave a little material out and roll this one up like this. Take that little end that you left out and wrap it around the green and tuck it in. And this green is rolled inside of the orange just like this. And you can continue doing this with 4 or 5 silks. You can use different colors and different sizes if you like. So now you're holding on to this. You come over here. I hope I didn't go out of view of the camera. And you hold this end like this, and it's the center that you grab. When you grab the center, what happens is the silk comes out. Being that you have a slip knot, slip this one off, and now grab the center again. And the silk comes out. And the slip knot allows you to grab this off, and you could also do it again, but I didn't put another silk in. Now I'm going to step out for a second and be right back. Instead of colorful silks, what about a colorful costume and a different kind of magic? As you see, cards, there's 52 of them, and what you think you see is not what you see at all. Now you see it, and now you don't. But there it is, right before your very eyes. And now, we take the cards and we make a fan. And at any time we wish, we can pull out a very beautiful silk from the center of these cards. And we'll place it over here. This is a very simple trick, as you see. I made a container that looks like a packet of cards. There's 3 pieces of wood around the sides, and I glued a piece of plastic on top here and a piece of plastic on the bottom, and a card on the top and a card on the bottom. And I made the sides look like the sides of cards. All you do is shove a silk inside here, and play with the cards like this. But of course you never want to do this. And that's the trick. Now I'd like to have a friend assist me with this next trick, Miss Bersa. Let me place these cards down and take this green silk. Let me have your wrist, please. What I'd like to do is take this silk and place it over your wrist like this. Now, watch closely. Touch my chest so you know that the silk will not, right there is good. You know that the silk will not come this way and it cannot go this way. And now, what we do, in 1 second, we just magically take the silk off her wrist, and it's a real knot, as you see. We will take it off like this. This is a very simple trick to do, which I will explain to you now. You see, you take the silk like this. Turn your hand this way. No, turn your hand like this. That's right. And when we put the silk under her hand, what we want to do is both our thumbs are on the silk like this. Leave it just like this. And what we want to do is just switch thumbs. Turn this thumb under here and then grab it. So you have a little bit there, and then just go like this. Turn your hand the other way. That's it. And now, of course, if I just let go now, the silk will let go. So now tie a knot. So all you have to do now is just pull a little bit, and as you see the bottom, what happens is the bottom just comes off like this, and then you just pull the silk like that. The next trick was invented by my good friend Tony Hassini. As you see, you show the front of the hand, the back of the hand, and the front again. And now rub your hand 3 times, and magically silks start materializing one by one out of your empty hand. This is a very simple trick that Tony Hassini invented, and I'd like to share it with you right now. The trick is, if I could find it, here it is. It's a little ball just like this. And what we do is it's a little ball. You could use a rubber ball or this metal ball. What you do is you take one. I'm going to drift over to the table here for a moment. You'll have to forgive me. There's a lot of stuff on this table that I've been using for the act, which I will slide over. And I'm going to sit down here just for one moment with you. Just take one silk and put it into the ball, just like this. Of course, the ball is hollow, as you know. I forgot to say that. And then take this end right here, this end of this silk and this end, and just tie them. Turn them just like this. Don't actually tie them. Just hold it like this, turn it like this, and pull these two together. As you see, it's really still loose. It's not really a knot. And then just put the next silk in. Just like this. Leave the corner out. Take another silk, as I said. Now take them like this. Turn this under, and then switch ends. And you don't actually tie a knot. If I were to let go, these would be loose. And then just put this in like this. Okay, that's the next silk. If you had a little larger ball, you could put a few more silks in it, but you really don't need more than 2 or 3 silks. Okay. And now it's in here. Now I'm going to stand up. If you'll excuse me for a minute, I don't want to get out of view of the camera. And the way you do this, you start it off like this. Actually, it's in your hand like this. But you can't see it because I have my hand like this. So what I'm doing is, I'm pointing to this side, and I'm pointing to this side. And right now, what I do is, I take this and put it in the back of my hand like this. Right now, I take this and put it in the back of my hand. You don't see me doing it because I'm doing it so quickly like that. And then what I do is I come like this and grab the ball just like this, which you don't see that. See, not here, and it's not here. And then I grab the ball here. as I pull one silk out like this, the next one pops out because of the twisting that I did. And so just pull the next one out and the next one out and place them over here. And nobody sees the ball. At the end of the trick, slide these off your hand and grab the ball in your hand and accept your applause. Now, let's go to one of the real gems of magic. This is a very, very beautiful silk trick. Practice it and you'll have a great trick on your hands. Watch. And it magically happens by itself. The way this is done is using a reel. Reels have been used in magic for many years. This is a reel. There's a black thread right here, and if you pull this, it just jumps back up because there's a spring tension in there. And the way you do this is, I don't want to come out of focus out of the camera, but you take this like this. I'm going to show it to you this way, if I can. You take this around this way. Now what you want to do is put the thread right here. Close your fingers on the thread and grab this end with the right hand, and the left hand, you let this loop off your left hand, and you're making this tighter now. You're actually making a knot. Now, do you see the thread over here? Take extra thread like this with your thumb, and now just tighten up the knot. My reel, as you can see it there, has a lock on it. I just press it with my thumb. So now I'm going to turn this way for a second and just drop the whole thing like this. As you see, when you let release pressure on your thumb, I'm going to do it this way so you can see it coming up. You see it coming up? And it goes through the knot, and here you have a very beautiful self-untying silk trick, one of the gems of magic. Let me place this one down and bring to your attention another gem of magic. This is a real gem of magic, and it's part of my everyday act. 3 silks, a red silk, a blue silk, and a yellow silk. Let's gather these silks into my hand like this. We'll gather them up, and as you notice, in 1 second, what happens? You see a beautiful silk, and the other silks vanish, and they will never know where they went. Now let me show you how this is done. I'm going to go over to the table over here and explain this to you. The explanation of this is 2 silks sewn together like this. You just take 2 silks and sew them together, exactly the same kind. The same silk is in the back as in the front. Okay, like this. Now what you do is you just sew these silks. Before you sew these silks together, on this end right here, you attach a piece of fabric right there, this long. You sew it to this end. Then you take this silk and place it on top of the bottom silk and sew the whole thing together, except for here, which this is a piece of plastic. There's a hole right here that goes through the both silks. And this little part here is not sewn. As you see, everything else is sewn. So what I'm going to do is put my hand in here and pull out the silks that was tied to that piece of fabric that you sewed to this end, and bring it through here now. As you see, here is the fabric that was sewn to this end. Now these silks are tied to it. Now if Miss Versa will help me, what I'm going to do right now, and of course, as you know, there's another end. On the other end, this is tied right here, so you can hold on to it. Now what I'm going to do, Miss Versa is going to help me, and we're going to do this. I'm going to show you the folding process now. Now Miss Versa, now I'm holding this like this. Would you fold that up That's right. Fold it up to the top. Gets folded here. Very good. Now I'm going to shift over here to this side now. Now bring it down first. Stretch it and bring it down. That's right. Now bring it up right to the top. Okay. Now do it again with this side. And bring it down and bring it right to the top. You see, you want to fold it twice. That's good. Right there. Now do the same thing with this one. But bring that one up a little bit, right to the top. You want to try to make things look even. Right to the top. Okay. Now that you have this like this, of course you don't want to lose this end right here. What we're going to do now is try to make it even, nice and even. Bring this up here almost 3/4 of the way, and bring this 1/4 of the way, and what we want to do is roll this up like this. Now the reason for this plastic thing, now the plastic thing goes over it like that, you see? And also hold on to this, don't forget to hold on to this piece. Now as you see, the plastic thing goes right over the bundle like this. So now as you're holding the bundle, I want to come over here. This piece right here is hanging out. Now as you're holding, you're showing you don't show this, of course. You show 1 silk, 2 silks, and 3 silks. What you're doing now is you're placing them into this piece of plastic, just like this. So what happens is, now you're holding on to this. What you do is you just pull this. Now the silks are going inside of the two, just like that. And you give it a little shake, and you're there. Let me place this down and tell you that magic is one of the greatest art forms in the world. So learn magic. You'll have gems within your hands, especially when you're handling a pretty yellow silk like this. Silk is gentle, it's soft, so handle them softly. And once in a while, when you produce a silk, blow on it and pluck it out of the air like a butterfly, and come back and do your trick, which I will do right now. Watch closely and enjoy another gem of magic. And now I'll explain to you how to do this pretty magic trick. Okay? What we do is we take this rope, step on the rope on the bottom, and on the top I put it in my mouth. Take a piece of silk and wind it up like this, rope fashion, so there's not too many loose ends, and place it behind the rope like this. What you should do is take the right side, right here, and place it over the left, in between the middle finger and the ring finger. Now, you want to take this piece and bring it through this loop right here. But when you do bring it through this loop, don't bring it on the right side of the rope. Pull this like this, pull to the left, and bring this on the left side of the rope. And with your middle finger, just pull this like this. Pull your middle finger down like this. That means you have made a nice slip knot, as you see. And at any time, magically, you just take the silk off the rope. You have learned one of the gems of magic. Practice it well, and you'll have art form within your hands. For my next trick, I'd like to show you a little pretty, excuse me one moment, pretty little trick. a square handkerchief. Nothing on this side and nothing on this side. Jeffrey, it's my son Jeffrey. He is also a silk magician.
Hello.
Now, Jeffrey, would you cut this silk in half?
Yes.
Just cut it in half. Keep cutting it. Now we have two pieces. Silk is very expensive. We really do not want to destroy our silk. So what we do magically is put it together in one piece, as you see. Take it and tie a knot in it. And the fabric was never destroyed by magic. And now I'd like to explain to you how this is done. Of course, as you see, this, when I put it together, this is really not one piece of fabric. As you can see, this is two pieces of fabric. But the way I put it together, I made it look like one piece, which I'll show you right now. I'll place this down and get another piece of fabric. Don't go away. And here is the other piece of fabric. What you do is just take the diagonal ends like this. Just take two ends, just like this. Hold. I hope I'm not going out of focus, out of the camera. Now take this silk like this. Did you catch the last fold? Okay, what I'd like to do is just roll it up like this, rope fashion. This is so simple, you'll love it. And take this like this. Now straighten out the silk like this. Of course you have these two ends here, as you see. What you want to do is cut the silk right in half. Go ahead, Jeffrey, cut it right in half. Watch my finger. I need my finger for the next trick, Jeffrey. Okay, right in half. You really do have two pieces. So what we do now is we place these together. Now we get this end here, that's on this side, and we get this end here, which is on this side. And we put those together. Now we have two more ends. We get this end, and we get this end. We grab these two ends, and these two ends, and we just pull. As you see, they're in two pieces. But when we pull, you see the two pieces? But when we pull them like this, it looks like one piece. We roll it up rope fashion, which really looks like one piece. And as you see, you can even pull on it very hard. Nobody can tear this. Place it